Patriot Tonight on SiriusXM Patriot Channel 125.
Hey there, welcome back. I am Lee Carter. I'm here with my brother John Carter. So much to break down tonight, from Anthony Scaramucci talking about, well, we can talk about what he's talking about. There's so much. There's the healthcare vote going on, and trying to make sense of it. What's most important is that we hear from you guys. I want to know what you're thinking. Give us a call, 866-957-2874, 866-95-PATRIOT. We've got Dan Stockdale on the line. He's a leadership analyst here to talk about Anthony Scaramucci and what's going on. Thanks so much for giving us a call tonight, Dan.
Hey, glad to do it. How are you doing tonight?
We're great. What do you make of this?
Well, this is just more of Trump, right? Americans are sick and tired of the polished politics that comes out of Washington. And I really believe that most Americans would much rather have trashy Trump and the language that comes with it and everything else, and know exactly what's going on in the White House, as opposed to all the secretive, mirrors and smoke and all that is the normal day-to-day of political, the politics in Washington. So
as a leadership analyst, tell me, how do you think? I mean, you got Donald Trump in his style. Anthony Scaramucci comes in. People are saying he's like exactly out of the same mold. What do you make of this leadership style?
Well, leadership styles they're very, very similar. But, a lot of people are just really, taken back by that bold, in-your-face, I'm going to tell it the way it is, I'm going to tell you what's on my mind approach. That's not all bad. And having dissension within the ranks, frankly, is not bad. A lot of great leaders will try and intentionally instigate conversations so that they get to see all angles of any particular issue.
All right, but that did work for Trump on the campaign trail. And he did, that brash, in your face, beat him up kind of style worked. Now you're in the White House. You're the newly appointed communications director on the phone with, one of the first reporters you're talking to. And then this happens. That's not as brash as in your face as I think they wanted to get.
I mean, that's a good point, John.
Yeah, very good point. So, and certainly if Trump knew ahead of time that there was some dissension going on already, he should have already been stepping in, sitting him down, and having those discussions behind closed doors to, so that the message is clear going out to the general public. But yeah, you're absolutely correct on that angle. That's not the initial message that you want being communicated by that person in the new position, for sure.
I mean, I'm assuming you help leaders become leaders. Anthony Scaramucci has been head of huge businesses. He's been host of his own show. He's done amazing things. Friday, he got up there in front of the American people, looked like he was a leader. What do you think his future is? What do you think? Or do you, and also I want to know, what do you make of this whole thing between him and Rentz? He says they're like brothers, and then all this happens. What do you think?
Well, brothers fight, right? So that's not, to be unexpected.
Well, I'm here with my brother, and I would never take him down in this way. Like, to be fair.
Right, exactly.
We'll fight, but come on.
I understand. But, what goes on in the boardrooms and, behind the closed doors is, often very brash. And, that's a good thing, frankly. It does bring out the best of decision-making amongst all the leaders involved. Certainly it's not the best way for it to have come out. It should not have come out as, certainly it's not the first message you want to be out there, but, nonetheless, it's part of Trump's style. It's what's made him popular. They are carbon copies of each other in their leadership styles, and that's what the American people want.
So with a 40% approval rating, is it what they want, or is it what his base wants?
I think it's what the base wants, but I also believe he would not have been elected had it not been what the bulk of America wanted. If you look at the precincts across the United States and the color map, clearly the majority of the country, if you look at just total country as a whole, wanted him in here. I understand on, the popular vote versus the electoral college, but, nonetheless, the man was elected president for a reason.
So let's get back to Rents and Scaramucci. I mean, there's a brothers relationship and there's Cain and Abel. What would you describe it as?
That's a good question. It depends on whether they're able to get their act together. It's time for them to sit down and have some frank discussions and see if they can work through their differences. If they can't, I think over the next day or two, you're going to see, you're going to see the story go one way or the other. You're going to see them coming out together as a united front, or you're going to see them even further divided.
Okay, so we've got this squabble between Scaramucci and Rents. Let's figure out what's going on there. Now let's talk. I mean, I don't mind. I don't know if you mind if I take you on a little bit of a tangent now. We've got Trump and we've got Sessions. As far as leadership styles go, tell me what you make about how Trump is treating Sessions.
Again, the thing about Trump is you never have to wonder what's on his mind, do you? Yeah, he's going to say what's on his mind. It's not we know from Trump and the campaign trail and through the presidency thus far. Sometimes it's not 100% accurate, but you never have to worry about what's on his mind.
I mean, you don't have to worry about. Sorry, go ahead.
No, there is something to be said for loyalty, though. Okay, so obviously it's a situation where he's, certainly not building a sense of loyalty with Sessions for sure.
No, but wouldn't you say Sessions is probably one of his most loyal allies? I mean, he's been there he was the first big name. He was there from the beginning.
Absolutely.
And then to get backhanded like this, I think is wrong.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely it's wrong. And, Sessions was there from the very beginning with Trump. I think that's part of what helped launch, the whole campaign to that next level. But, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Loyalty is a two-way street, and, it's not all about Trump.
So as a leadership analyst, let me ask you this. Have you seen other leaders behave in this way and be successful? Because one of the things I've heard people talking about is, let's look at a leader who publicly shames an employee in some ways or puts him down. And what does that do for recruiting? What does that do for his, like as far as leadership styles? I get that he says it like, you know where he stands, but
right.
Tell me as an expert in this, what you make of that?
Well, I've got to tell you, the one thing that constantly amazes me is that some of the most successful people don't necessarily have the best interpersonal skills. And I've seen CEO after CEO after CEO act in the same manner as Scaramucci or far worse, frankly, and be extremely successful in the corporate world. So it's not necessarily equated to success, having that type of a management style and leadership style.
So if you were to liken Donald Trump, Anthony Scaramucci, this style to somebody in the business world, who would you liken it to?
That's a tough one.
Okay.
I would.
Or would you even? I mean. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, it's really to compare the two. Trump is really if you want to be in a category of one, Trump's a category of one. There aren't many Trumps out there.
No, but I've been involved in a previous, I won't name the firm, but I was a broker for 15 years and co-managed $4 billion for a particular large company, one of the largest companies in the United States. And we used to call it, a Friday beatdown. And we would go into our boss's office in the afternoon and we would actually, be berated. And we were one of the top broker groups in the country. We were in the top 5. But
yeah,
we would
that's not uncommon.
Get killed every Friday before the weekend started.
Yeah, it's really sad. I've watched, very high-level CEOs and, folks that are making hundreds of thousands a year. I've sat there and watched them before they go into a boardroom taking Xanax to calm their nerves to get ready for the meeting. It's a dog-eat-dog world.
Yeah, but I think one of the appeals of Trump is the brash style. I don't know if the people are going to like the brash style from Scaramucci. I mean, this is a lot of press he's getting. I mean, it's as I look around the room right now, every single monitor has Scaramucci on it.
But you know what they don't have? They don't have Russia.
They'll figure out a way in a day or two to tie that in.
I know, but I think there are people that I've heard who say this is actually a strategy. I mean, I've even read people who oppose him who have said the president and Anthony Scaramucci both are really, you can take anything that you want from them except they're 10 steps ahead of other people. And so it could be that they're doing this on purpose so that we're not talking about other issues. What do you think?
Yeah, whether it's intentional or not, it's certainly been effective to take the focus off of Russia. I'll tell them that. And, they are always 10 steps ahead of other folks, especially when it comes to the media. And I don't believe it was anything that is intentional or contrived, but I think they're very happy to have the story turning this direction as opposed to the constant browbeating on Russia, for sure.
Right. Well, I'm kind of in the camp that I think the Sessions thing might have been a play fake. Maybe Sessions knew about it, and maybe since he is a large ally, that he knew that he was going to get thrown under the bus a little bit to divert this. I think this is just a big mistake. Yeah.
Certainly, it's in leadership, you've only got to be right 51% of the time, right? So that's unfortunately, Trump's made a lot of blunders along the way. There's been a lot of things that certainly shouldn't have happened, but at the end of the day, he always seems to come out on top of these stories.
So, if you were to give Anthony Scaramucci advice as a leadership, what would you tell him right now? How would he and the president make this go away, and we start focusing on the healthcare vote, tax reform, et cetera? How do you move forward from here?
Tomorrow morning, Scaramucci and Priebus sit down with Trump, work through the issues, and come out as a united front. It's really simple.
Yeah.
Will they do it? I don't know. Next 24 hours are going to tell us. But they've got to come out as a united front and move beyond this so that we can get to things like healthcare reform and all the other major issues that this country's facing.
And just to play devil's advocate, what do you think would be the doomsday scenario? Somebody leaving, resigning, Priebus?
Yeah, I believe that would be one of the two. We'll see who the loyalty's stronger to, but the doomsday part would be if one of the two ends up resigning and leaving.
I mean, it's a fascinating time. This is Dan Stockdale, a leadership analyst, joining us. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you what you think about the president, Anthony Scaramucci. Give us a call, 866-957-2874, 866-95-PATRIOT. This is such interesting times because as somebody who is a consultant, helps people and leaders just probably like you, Dan, the traditional methods here don't apply, right?
Nothing traditional applies to this White House. Everything and that's what's upsetting Washington so bad is all the way that they're used to, is all fading away. And that's why Trump's facing such a struggle. That's why he's at a 40% approval rating. The folks in Washington that have their established systems and culture don't like that the apple cart's being upset. So.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'm not a big polling guy, but do you think that 40% is higher? Because, I think
for real it's higher.
I think the base is with them. I think that they know what they're getting. I think he's upsetting the apple cart a little bit. And I think that the most people, obviously the media is against him, and I think those are putting out the polls, and I think they're rigged to the low side.
Well, they are. I believe they're rigged to the low side, and you're certainly not getting a true measure of what the average American, I believe, thinks of Trump. He's everybody I talk to, they may not want to admit they voted for Trump, but they are glad to see action finally being taken in Washington and know that something's happening versus basically the stalemate that's been going on.
I mean, I understand that the polls have underestimated Trump throughout, but a lot of the polls can give us trend lines to see how he's doing. And while people are saying he's the bottom's dropping out of the presidency, he has held pretty stable throughout, although recently has had some of a blip. And I look at the polls directionally because it's not just you can't ask somebody what you think and give that, on a 10-point scale and get a totally accurate reflection. You have to have conversations. And to me, I think that, while the president has held pretty much exactly where he started from, I can't say that I haven't heard some dissent in the last couple of weeks. And so I'm not sure that we're not going to see some decline in the polls, even though I understand they might be underweighted. I don't know. What do you think, John?
I think that the polls are probably you're going to get a little downtick, but I think in general, I think that the people that are for Trump are still with him.
I mean, that's for sure.
The interesting thing's going to be if to see how long they stick with him. Are the American people, the ones, that base that's behind Trump, are they going to stick with him throughout 4 years of this? Or are they up for that much of a fight?
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's going to be the interesting piece.
I think, Dan, that's a really good question. Dan, thanks so much for joining us. That was Dan Stockdale, a leadership analyst. Thank you for joining us. Hope we'll come back soon.